Just ahead on CTV News tonight, we're one-on-one with the head of the county school system. Plus, a local lawmaker fondly remembers one of the Navy SEALs who died while serving the country. And the fallout continues over the promotion of a principal in Montgomery County. Those stories and more up next.
Good evening. This is CTV News for Thursday, January 25th. I'm Taylor Thomas.
And I'm Byron Scott.
The Prince George's School District continues to dig into the findings of its Listen, Learn, and town halls that were conducted earlier in the school year. I had an opportunity to sit down with the county's new superintendent, Millard House, to discuss what they revealed. House the second comes to PGCPS from the Houston Independent School District in Texas, which is the 8th largest in the country. House is credited with creating the district's first 5-year comprehensive strategic plan that pulled 40 of 50 schools off the failing list, increased teachers' pay, and put nurses, librarians, and counselors in every school. Once here, one of the first things he chose to do was hold public sessions to hear from parents and teachers alike. The 90-day report from numerous virtual and 400 in-person public sessions showed that parents were pleased with.
And some of the things that came out of the findings that we're most proud of, number one, is that MCAP results came back showing that PGCPS students are outperforming the state. When the factor of race is included. We did a rollout of security enhancement equipment at all of our high schools, and we've seen that equipment make a difference.
With the good news comes the bad. House spoke about areas of concern that came from the Listen, Learn, and Lead sessions.
Number one is the staffing shortage that we have. You know, this almost makes me feel like I'm sitting in a seat in another school district because I was having the same conversation. It's a national shortage. I think another piece that we know we have to work on is the idea of COVID relief dollars. You know, the federal government provided us with these COVID relief dollars, ESSER dollars, but they'll only be in place for another year. And so it's being called the COVID cliff. You're talking about in excess of, you know, a few $1 billion that have been in place for this school district, and being without those dollars means that you might be without programs, you might be without services, and how we fill those gaps.
Tomorrow, we'll share more about the outcome from the 90-day report. A former Montgomery County principal accused of sexual harassment no longer works for the school system, according to the Washington Post. Joel Bottleman had been on administrative leave since August when news of at least 18 misconduct complaints surfaced. Bottleman has denied many of the allegations, but a new report documents that the school system was warned of problems beginning in 2019, although no corrective action was taken.
Meantime, the Montgomery County Educators Association says it's disheartened and disgusted by the revelations of corruption, malfeasance, and unsafe working conditions in the school district. The OIG report accuses top executives of either incompetence or willful avoidance of duty in processing complaints of sexual harassment and bullying. The county inspector general says the case files were maintained in a chaotic condition, that employees had little guidance on how to investigate complaints, and that there was no tracking process for complaints.
A man is dead after being stabbed to death in his home. Police responded to 8000 block of Greenfield Drive in Lanham around 7:15 this morning after a woman stabbed a man and then called 911. The man was taken to an area hospital where he later died. The woman has not been arrested. Police believe the stabbing was believed to be domestic related, but won't say how the two are related, only that they live together. Anyone with information about this crime is urged to call 1-800-411-TIPS.
And fond memories are being recalled about Special Operator First Class Christopher Chambers, who died while trying to save another SEAL during a raid near Somalia. Delegate Julian Ivey and Chambers grew up down the street from each other and were on the same swim team. Ivey says he wasn't surprised when he heard Chambers had become a Navy SEAL because he was a natural leader.
was the type of individual who led from the front, who would tell us to go swim in that very, very cold water early in the morning, but he'd also jump in, ahead of us to show us, like, hey, I'm asking you to do something very difficult, but I'm willing to do it as well. Just the epitome of a leader.
Chambers enlisted in the Navy in 2012 and graduated from the Navy SEAL training in 2014. He was 37 years old. Well, a Capitol Heights man will spend more than 40 years in prison for fatally shooting a transgender woman. DeAllen Price was sentenced to 48 years for killing Taya Ashton, a 20-year-old transgender woman, back in 2021. Price, who was in a relationship with Ashton, shot her in her apartment in Suitland. Prosecutors say Price murdered her after finding out Ashton was not born a woman. And you're watching CTV News. I'm Byron Scott.
And I'm Taylor Thomas. Coming up, it's the second most common cancer amongst men in the U.S. More details after the break.
Coming up on CTV News, we speak with the county's health officer about prostate cancer, and he shares which age groups should get screened for the disease. Stay tuned.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 in the morning, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. He asked all his therapists to help him undertake some of the house chores. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. Remember the best planned 90 minutes of your life? Or that surprise party for your parents' golden anniversary? You get the golden planning. The same way you plan each detail for those moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make.
We need to go meet the guys. I'm lit. Can you drive?
Pool party at Jesse's. Can you drive? Will you drive? I'm a little toasty.
Nope.
Nope.
Nope, up high. But I can order us a ride.
Okay.
Friendly reminder, don't drive high. If you feel different, you drive different.
Thanks for joining us. Many Americans are familiar with the tragic school shootings at Columbine, Virginia Tech, and Sandy Hook. The senseless shootings have precipitated the need for schools and law enforcement to be better prepared for potential disasters. That's why many local communities are doing active shooter drills or trainings. But several local lawmakers want to make sure that those drills are not leaving students, parents, and faculty traumatized in the process.
Making sure that families get advance notice so we don't have stories where, families and students are in a panic because they don't realize it's a training. We had an incident in my community where students were texting their families saying, "I love you, I may never see you again," because they didn't realize what they were going through was a drill. And then we also want to make sure that families know about it afterwards so that they can talk with their students, they can work through issues that may have come up, and we want to make sure that there's mental health supports available for staff and educators so that they aren't traumatized by these things.
A hearing on House Bill 416 is scheduled for February 7th before the Ways and Means Committee.
Earlier this week, Dexter Scott King, the son of civil rights icon Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., died after a battle with prostate cancer. Today, the county's top health leader wants to encourage men to get screened for the disease early. Prostate cancer is the second leading cause of cancer deaths in American men. Some symptoms include issues with urination and blood in the urine. County health officials say men who are screened early and treated for the cancer have a 5-year survival rate of 98%.
Men should be tested at age 50 if they have no high risk, if they're not in the high risk category. So men that have a first-degree relative are in the high-risk category. Black men are in a high-risk category, so they should be tested between the ages of 40 and 45. Prostate cancer affects black men at a much higher rate. And in fact, the rate of death from prostate cancer is almost doubled compared to other populations of men. There's a lot of factors involved in it. And some of those are access issues, some of those are access to screening and treatment, some of those are understanding when you need to go get treated.
Physicians can screen for prostate cancer through a blood test. If you don't have a primary care physician, Dr. Levy also says that men can get screened at Luminous Health Medical Center, University of Maryland Capital Region Health Hospital, and MedStar Southern Hospital, Maryland Hospital. And a massive redevelopment project is underway that will transform the town of Cheverly.
It's all focused around the former Prince George's Hospital Center.
This is a big idea, and it's a big idea whose time has really come to pass.
Governor Westmore in Cheverly yesterday on the grounds of the closed Prince George's Hospital Center to talk about the future.
This is an incredibly important significance because it's not just about economic development. This is community building. This is about coming up with ways and places and spaces for people to get to know each other, to support each other, to have real measurements of economic growth, and to have it being community-centered and community-based.
The 45-acre site is being redeveloped into what will be a 1.5 million square foot mixed-use complex.
So we're planning over 1,200 residential units, and those will be in a combination of new construction for sale townhomes, which is a great way to, sort of attract early residents to a community because they see the value, the plan. At the same time, we'll be building a series of apartment buildings. And then we're actually targeting some buildings for active seniors.
In addition, there will be retail, green space, a food hall, dog park, and there are also plans to reactivate the healthcare facility.
What you can envision is a combination of new apartment buildings.
Governor Moore briefly toured the property, and it was during his visit that he announced $7.5 million in state funding that is earmarked for the project.
As we were going through, and we've taken a very fine-tooth comb to the entire budget, but we also knew that this was a time when we had to invest in the big ideas, in the things that could have not just lasting impact, but truly generational and tangible impact on communities. This is one of these projects, and so we knew that this was a project that we wanted to invest in.
For the next 24 to 36 months,
Casey Munyene is the mayor of Cheverly. What's going through your mind?
Oh, excitement. I'm thrilled. We will finally have someplace to walk and eat and enjoy each other's company. There's not a lot of retail in Cheverly at all. We've got 2 restaurants. One is actually outside of the town. And we're going to be adding a whole nother 1,200 units of housing.
Some of the structures, including the main building and a teleport, will remain.
This whole area is really going to benefit from this. We need to have an exciting new development. This is going to have wonderful community space. It's going to have amenities that everybody wants. Well, everybody doesn't want a dog park, but I do.
As you can see, demolition is already underway. That'll take about a year. As for when all is said and done, that'll take about 10 years. In Cheverly, Byron Scott, CTV News. And one of the amenities that the officials say will remain, Hospital Hill, which is used for snow sledding by residents during the winter. Well, street racing grew at an alarming rate during the early days of the pandemic, with drivers often doing stunts or barreling through neighborhoods or businesses at high speeds. Those drivers continue to be a menace issue for communities across Maryland. Now, a group of lawmakers has proposed a bill with more targeted enforcement and penalties for reckless behavior in vehicles. Delegate Mary Lehman is the lead sponsor of the measure.
The bill, what it changes in Maryland law is to say if you are driving in one of these contests and you receive a citation, it makes it what is called a must-appear offense. You have to go to court. So you cannot prepay any fine like you would with a regular speeding ticket or for running a red light or whatever else. You must face a judge and explain what it was you were doing, why you thought that was a good idea to go tearing through communities like that.
House Bill 601 is currently before the House Environment and Transportation Committee.
Maryland's Prescription Board sets a tentative plan to identify expensive drugs. Throughout this year, the Prescription Drug Affordability Board will start identifying which drugs should undergo cost reduction efforts in the state. The group is expected to have a preliminary list in its next meeting set for Monday. The board will undergo a consideration process in March. It will include public testimony, industry input, and data from drug manufacturers. It's called the Roadway Project Act of 2024. The aim is to protect Maryland road workers in work zones. The legislation was introduced today in Annapolis by the Moore administration, and it's the result recommendations by the Work Zone Safety Group, which is chaired by Lieutenant Governor Aruna Miller. Under the bill, speed camera citations in work zones could increase from $40 to $290. It would require that all speed cameras in work zones have a physical operator present, allowing for drivers to be cited immediately, and it would allow for fines to be issued during the warning period. Still ahead on CTV News, we are continuing our fitness journey into 2024 with strength and grace.
Stay right there. More news in a bit. Stay tuned.
Got a new fitness craze for you to try coming up on CTV News.
You see certain things get reincarnated in your children. My daughter is very much inspired by my wife's artistic pursuits. So my daughter started making necklaces. She makes what we call affirmation fashion. I tell her every day that your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. And if there's anything better than being beautiful, it's being smart. And if there's anything better than being smart, it's being kind. And reaffirming that every day is our method of making sure her chin never drops. My dad wasn't around, and I remember riding a bike and falling off and cutting myself, and me never just wanted to get back on it. People ask, how your children learn how to ride a bike, and you didn't. I didn't teach them. I just created an environment where they taught themselves, and all I had to do was be there.
You've done the hard part. You quit smoking. Now do the easy part and get scanned for lung cancer. If you smoked, you may still be at risk, but early detection could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Welcome back. A federal appeals court upholds a gun safety law in Maryland. The measure requires gun dealers to distribute information about suicide prevention, conflict resolution, and mental health resources. A 3-judge panel ruled in favor of the Anne Arundel County law approved in 2022. The gun rights group Maryland Shall Issue and 4 gun store owners appealed the measure on First Amendment grounds, that is. But earlier this week, the 4th Circuit Court of Appeals ruled in favor of the county. If you're not a fan of working out in the gym or just in a rut when it comes to exercising,
CTV's Mariah Jalad is back with another creative way to get active in the new year.
This month, I've been all about trying new ways to get fit. So today, we're going to be working on our strength and our self-confidence with a twist.
The class starts off simple with some light stretching and warm-ups, but soon the girls at My Body Shop will be moving into something a little bit more advanced.
We can start doing things, boom, boom. Good. Nice. Good.
Sunny Coleman is the owner of My Body Shop, and she started Prince George County's first pole studio in 2008.
Most people come here because they're looking for something different, something unique, something private and intimate as well. Pole dancing is a full body workout. And the reason I decided to open up a facility such as this is to give those people an opportunity to experience the unknown. I love group fitness. It's always been a struggle for me to work out independently by myself because I lack motivation. And I felt like this, at that time, this type of fitness was very new to not only the county, but to the world.
Don't be intimidated by the tall poles or impressive moves you see these students pulling off. My Body Shop has classes for every skill level.
We have women, 50 plus, 60 plus come in. Everyone is welcome and we encourage everyone to come in. But our ideal classes are for everyone. It just really depends on what your goals are personally.
You can learn more about taking classes like pole choreography, lyra, or floor foundationals at My Body Shop's website. Mariah Jalad in Riverdale, CTV News.
Now make sure to visit My Body Shop website at the address right there on your screen and stop by the studio in Riverdale. That seems interesting, Byron. I'm not sure if that's for me, but that seems interesting.
So you wouldn't try it?
I'm not sure. I do like the heels, though.
Nor would I. All right. Moving on to sports, our Simon Buggs has a preview of the Thursday Sports Report.
Hey everybody, and coming up in sports, I got a chance to sit with former Wise head football coach DeLon Paris and talk to him about his early life. That story and more coming up soon. I promise you, you don't want to miss it.
Women are bad with money.
It's what the world's been saying for centuries. But now,
we've got something to say.
Save it. Save the old-fashioned advice, the empty excuses. It's all worthless, unlike us.
To our fellow females, it is time to save ourselves by saving our money.
Contributing to our futures, investing in our independence.
Until we're no longer 80%
more likely than men to live in poverty in retirement.
So again, we say to that, save it.
The falsehoods, the feelings of fault, then the funds.
Learn how to save for your retirement at wesaysaveit.org.
Feel the beat of nature at a park or forest near you. Find a forest and music inspired by nature at discovertheforest.org.
How do you know when you've made the right decision? It's the feeling you get in your gut. The one that tells you what's right or wrong. It's the one that says, sure, I can have a drink. Or the feeling that says, okay, I've been drinking. Now what? It's the voice inside you that says, I'm buzzed. Better leave the car when it's time to go. Plan ahead. Catch a sober ride. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Okay, everybody, we begin your Thursday sports space with some high school football news. Before DeLon Paris was a 6-time state champion with the Wise High School football team, he was a kid from Maryland that bounced all around. Paris attended school in 8 different districts and even spent some time in Baltimore. And Paris credited his mom for keeping him on the right path.
My mom was always structured. You know, you couldn't go outside until you was finished your homework, things of that nature. So no matter all the different neighborhoods I lived in growing up, as you said, I moved a lot from Baltimore City to Baltimore County to Anne Arundel County, Howard County. She was always trying to move to put me and my brothers and sisters in better situations. But she was very structured, caring, loving, so a lot of the things other people might have been doing, I either didn't have the time to do or she wasn't gonna have it. Everybody, everywhere we went, knew my mother.
Not only did his mother have a great impact on him, but an older cousin of his did as well, as he's the reason he fell in love with football.
Probably say the first time I saw my older cousin, I was at my aunt's house and he came in. He was playing high school football. He's about 7 years older than me, and he had his equipment on already. I wanted to be a gladiator. That's how I kind of thought of it. And that was like the first actual time like seeing it from somebody that I cared about wearing it, you know. I always watched it on TV, and I remember those Dallas Cowboys, Washington Redskin battles. But to actually see somebody in a full armor, as I call it, that's when I'm playing.
Parrish's combination of good grades and talent on the field captured the attention of colleges. Parrish chose to attend Wake Forest University playing defensive back, and he told CTV Sports what the driving force behind him becoming a Demon Deacon was.
The main reason I went to Wake Forest was for Jim Caldwell. He was the first African-American coach in the ACC. Wake Forest was actually the first team to have African-American on their team. So I'm a history major, and I knew about that, but playing for Jim Caldwell, the way he recruited, things of that nature was why I wanted to go to Wake Forest. And then I also, a young man at the time that I looked up to in the Baltimore area, Terrence Suber, was there, and he was actually my host. And to see another former quarterback playing defensive back down there and show you what it was to play collegiate football made me want to do that.
Although Parrish had a solid career at Wake Forest as he was a team captain and led the squad in tackles multiple years, making it to the NFL didn't pan out for him. After coaching at multiple high schools and colleges, the Wake Forest grad landed his first head coaching gig at Duval High School. But Parrish's time with the Tigers wasn't very successful.
It was rough at first, right? Because a lot of people that's been around a long time, they know my first 4 years coaching was a struggle. Duval, we went 0-9. Then second year we went 2-8, and then I went over to Wilds High School, and then even there we went 2-8 the first year, then 5-5 the second year. Then it took off from there. But I credit Duval for preparing me for Wilds.
And the rest was history, as along with 6 state titles, Parrish also led the Pumas to 11 county championships and 10 region championships. Switching to some track and field news, the Prince George's County Track and Field Championships were held yesterday. Schools from all over the county gathered at the Wayne K. Curry Sports and Learning Complex. From the hurdles to the long jump, these student athletes showed off their skills for a chance to become county champs. CTV Sports caught up with some coaches as well as participants and talked to them about their experience being at this exciting event.
I was mainly focusing on my drive because I haven't been doing that since I've been competing here for the start of the season. So I was just trying to make sure I drive in my race and mainly react to the gun because I've been slacking on that during the season.
County championships are always exciting for us, and we just try to make sure that our athletes understand the culture and the history behind this meet. And once we impress upon them about all of the history behind it, they become immediately excited.
And wrapping up sports, the Washington Wizards make a change at head coach as Wes Unseld Jr. has moved out of that position and is transitioning to a front office role. Unseld had been the Wizards head coach since July of 2021 and compiled a 77-130 record. Wizards assistant coach Brian Keefe has been named the interim head coach. And that is your Thursday sports page. Simon Buggs, CTV Sports.
Thank you, Simon. Let's get a quick look now at our early weekend forecast. It'll be rainy and foggy tonight with a low of 54 degrees. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy skies to start your weekend with a high of 64. Saturday, partly sunny for most of the day, but you may have to break out that umbrella after 4 p.m. Temps will reach 54 degrees. Sunday, keep your umbrella handy. There's a chance of rain all day with a high of 48 degrees.
And now, the community calendar applications for the 2024 WSSC Water Engineering Scholarships are now available. Students currently majoring in engineering fields are encouraged to apply. One resident from Prince George's County and one from Montgomery County will receive up to $2,000 in financial assistance and more. The deadline, by the way, is this Thursday, February the 15th. The deadline is Thursday, February the 15th. For more information and application requirements, visit wsscwater.com/scholarships. And that wraps up our CTV News Update. I'm Taylor Thomas.
And I'm Byron Scott. Join us tomorrow for more local news.
Have a great evening and stay dry.
time comes, be ready. Learn CPR and join the nation of lifesavers. Nearly 3 out of 4 cardiac arrests that don't happen in hospitals happen in homes. CPR saved my life. I've teamed up with the American Heart Association as the national ambassador to help create a nation of lifesavers, turning bystanders into lifesavers through CPR education and access to AEDs. Join me to ensure everyone has the chance to live longer, healthier lives. Visit heart.org/nation.